This is just. I was just like, why not? Why not go live tonight? Didn't even make an announcement, so we'll see if people join. If not, I'm just gonna be talking to myself and my little puppies. Look at these two. Look, it's Trouble and Trouble. Those two are just trouble. So this is just gonna be kind of live Q&A, and we're just gonna see if somebody's gonna jump on and say something. If not, so be it, right? So we're just gonna say, what is going on? What's up? How's it going? Where are you guys from? Tell me a little bit about it. Marco Polo. Man, I love having conversation with you. I remember you from my last live. I love it. Thanks for tuning in tonight. So where are you guys tuning in from? I'm from Long Island, New York. I freaking love it. Let's do it. Yeah, what are we doing? I love it. Long Island, I love it. This is like, what's up? I enjoy your videos. Memphis, Tennessee, Houston, Texas, Delaware. Shit, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Her Las Vegas is losing. Oh gosh, Las Vegas is. So this is interesting about Las Vegas. It used to be that everybody that gambled got compensation. They got like free rooms, dinners, all this other stuff. Now, private equity came in and they had to sell these hotels and everything else. And all of a sudden, they're losing money because private equity sold the land to their own management company or their real estate portfolio thing. And now these companies have to pay rent to the company that bought them. So this is such an illegal thing. I feel like private equity should be banned. Airbnb bookings are down. Yep. Airbnb bookings are absolutely down. It is an absolute craziness in the market. Yeah. I think international travel in Vegas is down. It's like crazy. Like just international travel. I looked at for my mom to come from Switzerland to the United States just to hang out with me, and her flights were like $2,000 in like economy, and I was like, man, you used to get like business class. If she gets like Venezuela, would you go back to Switzerland? You mean like inflation wise? I don't know. No, I'd probably go to Venezuela to be honest. Or what is it? Argentina and eat some really good steaks. Yeah, I probably would not go to back to Switzerland. There's stuff said about going back. I just wouldn't feel good. So when people ask me, because I lived in Florida, if I would go back to Florida, I probably wouldn't go back to Florida because when you go back in life, it just something just doesn't seem right. So I couldn't go back. Were you the French speaking Swiss? No, German actually. Awesome. Airbnb improves the value for properties. Yeah, Airbnb is a funny thing. Airbnbs, it's like Airbnbs, the idea, because I own them too, right? I own them in Las Vegas. The idea is great, but implementation and how you do it is everything. Are you Venezuelan? No, I'm not. I'm actually Swiss American now. I used to be only Swiss. Now I'm Swiss American. But I only heard good things about Venezuelans. Do you think Rolex is made in China? Louis Vuitton, it's all made in China. So I know for a fact, because I know people that work in Rolex factories, and I've worked with suppliers for Rolex, that parts can be made in China, but then they are assembled in Switzerland. So, yeah, thanks, Trippy Kid. I love it. So yeah, they might have areas and stuff that has been done in Venezuela or China, sorry, and then they ship it to Switzerland. In Switzerland, they assemble it and then they call it Swiss made. There's like a law. They took tariffs off. Yeah, yeah. So tariffs, tariffs is like how I look at it. It's never a good idea. I always think that the best idea is always to get incentives, just incentive, because tariffs is like punishment. But if you have incentives, all of a sudden, yeah, this gets so high. No, I'm actually not. actually, actually, stop doing that. Yeah, yeah, I can't. No, I'm not. And Jawara the King, offer of 7 books. I love it. How's life treating you? How's the East Coast over there? I wish, Bad Bandit. I wished, but my health does not allow me to do that anymore. So I wish, though. I wish it would be a fun life if I did. So Jawara, tell me a little bit. How's the book standing? How's everything going? Jawara is like and Marco Polo are like one of my OGs. Have always been like they've been there since like day one. They've been with me since like day one. You came here legally? I did come here legally. So actually, so my journey was so when I left Switzerland, I moved to France. I moved to Lyon, France. I lived there for 10 months. Then I moved back to Switzerland. So I was like, I'm gonna work a little bit, and so I did HVAC installments and all this other stuff. So I ran installation teams for HVACs, and then I said, I don't like the Swiss lifestyle. I don't like France either. So I had friends and family living in Florida. So I moved to Florida and I went to Florida Flyers flight school first. Then I said flying's not for me because I can't see colors. I can't see green and red so much. So then I had to change that. Went to college. Then I met Allison, got married, and this was on a visa. So I changed my visa, met Allie, and now I literally go wherever Allie wants to go. So if she wanted to go back, we'd I'd be moving wherever she wants to go. Thanks. I wish I had your drive tour. What are you talking about? Like just me doing my thing? Yeah. I like your your cheeks. Thanks. Thanks. Appreciate it. So, do you think investment in homes a good invest? Do you think investing in Taylor homes a good investment to hold for cash flow, owning the land too? So, tell me a little bit more about like, do you want to invest into the stocks or do you want to buy and then hold the land? Because if you just want to hold the land, um, that's like the most easiest and most convenient way to make money. If you have somebody pay you land royalties, that's like golden. Then you don't have to worry about maintenance, nothing else, and they have to do everything else. But if you're like buying the stock, then you get liquidity, buy and hold. So you want to buy and do the mobile home. That's what I'm doing. So I bought a lot in Vegas, and I'm gonna put a mobile home on it, and I'm gonna buy and rent it out and do the whole shebang. Buy and home. Yeah. Thanks, Shawar. Yeah, you're driven. Yeah, I try to. I try to. I feel like I've came here on a dream and a little bit of money, and then I feel like I failed a lot, and then I just like finally everything like last and this year it's just kind of been like going, and I've been repeating failure after failure. So I finally feel like I can like breathe and do stuff, and then this year I got hit with a $16,000 tax bill additional. So I was like, holy smokes. So yeah. How do you think Bitcoin will be doing in the future? Bitcoin depends if it's going to be utilized more, people buy it more. Could be great, could be bad. Buy and hold the land, yeah. Popular. It's all area dependent. If you have great area that you can hold land in, so if you're going to hold land in an area that's like really popular, 100%. Marco Polo, we might be use euro dollar here if inflation gets bad. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it because the as much as I know is when you travel to Asia, all they want is US dollars. So like everybody in like the US is just saying, hey, can you pay US dollars? Even if you go down to Mexico, they're like love US dollars because there needs to be liquidity to change currencies, right? Because if nobody wants your currency, then it doesn't really hold value. But for US dollars, because Swift payment, petrodollar, everything else, and the US would go literally bananas if somebody would jeopardize the petrodollar. They would literally make everything like they would take down China tomorrow if they would challenge the petrodollar. It said you lost your yogurt shop. No, actually, my yogurt shop is not bad that I lost it because when I look back at it, I wasn't even though I had employees during COVID, it got shut down and everything. So for everybody that's watching, so I used to own a yogurt shop with Ali, called Other Yogurt in Half Moon Bay, and it got shut during COVID. And one of the reasons why we had to shut it down was that in our analysis that we've made, the most the best location was going to be Half Moon Bay with the high school next to it, and so that's where my clients were going to come from. But figuring out that high school was going to be remote indefinitely and your biggest clientele is going to be gone isn't a good strategy, and we couldn't really plan for that. My parents are from El Salvador, and it is not the safest country. I mean, that president from El Salvador, you guys got to protect that dude at any cost because um, they're gonna come for him at one point. So, similar to Sweet Frog, yeah. El Salvador has investment from China and the United States, yeah. Yeah, El Salvador, man, that guy that Zimbabwe, what is his name? Enrique, like, can't remember what his name is. Um, I follow him on TikTok, and this guy is just a leader. He's just he's everything that Americans would want. He's like he presents himself nice. El Bobby or something. I can't, like a butcher. I'm not fluent in Spanish, but man, he's articulate. He cleaned up. Yeah, there was collateral damage with people that were like, we heard it in the press here that were like, oh my gosh, people are getting incarcerated that were. If you clean up a country like that, it's just bound to happen that people are gonna get, yeah. Navabi Bouquet, yeah, I don't even know how you say that. How do you pronounce it? Navabi Bouquet. I butcher it too much. I'm so sorry. This is my illiterate Swissness. Yeah, great dude. Like literally, like got yeah. You couldn't walk on the streets, and all of a sudden now he does. Got all these gang members done, and he got. You can do it. Bro, you should train for a marathon. I should. You walk a lot. I try to every day. So, backstory is, I started doing. So I used to do YouTube like years ago. I do skits. I did all kinds of funny stuff, and then my doctor told me that my liver stuff wasn't right, and so I need to walk for 20 minutes. And that's where I try to share my knowledge, what I see in the job market, and my finances. And it literally doesn't take me that much time to edit or do anything. So that's how it kind of came about. And then I started to gain like people like Chawara as followers, and I just love it. I have great conversations. I love it. That's kind of keeps me going, and I love sharing, my perspective from 1,200 job seekers. 1,200 job seekers that I share, that I talk to on a daily. Um, what they see, the struggles they face, and then I watch TikTok's video, and they just kind of confirms it. Then I try to share it. Do German people really drink a lot of beer? I think it depends. I think it really depends on on where you're at and what you want to do. I think there's people drinking in every country drinking a lot, so it depends, like more individual. Do you think we really have empty shelves? It's pretty scary how everyone is reacting. No, so I actually follow a guy on TikTok that does that sells on Amazon, and he's already relocated all of his manufacturing to another country that doesn't have tariffs. So they're just kind of fear mongering, because if you have opportunities like that where people say, "Oh my gosh, it's made in China," like air fryers or anything else, then you're just gonna relocate to India. That's what Apple's doing to India or other places in the world, and then they can ramp up manufacturing now super quick, because if they can sell to the US market, they'll have factories put up in 24, like they'll just crank it out, because if you can get access to the US market, you're golden. German automakers are in trouble. Yeah, Germans don't know how to build cars. Neither do Americans. They German car manufacturing has just always been prestigious, like in the United States. In Europe, you can get like entry level BMWs with no fanciness, and when they import them here, they have like all this fancy swag stuff where they have, oh, the car remembers how you drive backwards for the last 500 feet, and you can just press a button and it does all that. And one thing that I've noticed is that in Germany, cars are really made out of plastic, because Germany doesn't get so hot like they do in the US. So having a bunch of plastic parts doesn't really affect them that much, but having a shit ton of plastic in the United States, depending on where you're at, just leads to a problem down the road. Switzerland really has fallen shelters in all homes. Yes, they do. I had one. I had one in I Switzerland does have fallout shelters everywhere. They're not So I don't know if, because I was in the military, so I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this online. But yeah, so not all of them are up to standards for today's technologies. So every school has a fallout shelter that fits the school in. I lived in one for 3 months, and it was horrendous. I'd actually rather die from a nuclear bomb than living in a fallout shelter with 200 people. I did it, and it was awful. Literally, like the air just starts smelling. Um, the air circulations inside a bunker is just something that you do not want to experience. And you can say it's national pride, but after like a month, you're over it. There's no like sunlight. There's no nothing. You just in the bunkers for 3 months. I speak German, English, and I used to speak French. That's kind of, yeah. Hit the like button. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, so we've been to Asia. Yes, I have. So I've been to Thailand. I've been to Indonesia. Yeah, that's kind of Africa or South America. No, I've not been to Africa and South America. I've been not only been to Northern America. I have not been to South America, unfortunately. I'm going to though. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm like loving traveling, so I'm definitely gonna try. Why have you guys been? Have you been to Canada? Like can so I've been so I traveled through Canada, but I've never really yeah. So I've never been like exploring it. So you'd rather die from a bomb? Oh, I'd rather die with 1,000 stitches than live in a fallout shelter forever. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. You'd rather die from a bomb. Yeah, 100%. 100%. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I would not. Yeah, there's no. So when I was in the military, it is basically hundreds of people living like. I'll try to make a video once about it how and I can't remember like it was I can't articulate it, but there was shell like there were like bunks here, then there's bunks here, and then there's bunks here, and the only luxury you had is sleeping next to the wall because then always the next bunks in the military was like empty, so there was wall, you, and then an empty bed. But during emergency crisis, every bunk would be filled, and it smelled like shoes and just just sweat, and it was just like horrible like because they filter the air inside so it doesn't contaminate and you can never get the air out, so it's like no. Have I been to the Dominican Republic? Unfortunately, I've not been to the Dominican Republic, no. Yeah, I rather. So if you live in a fallout shelter, one of the problems is that you're gonna run out of food, and so then you have teams that need to go out and get food, and getting food and then cooking it and doing all that. You lack vitamin D. Um, Tensions are gonna run really high when you're living really close with a bunch of people. You need a lot of discipline, and if one of them gets a cough, you're all gonna have a cough. So it's like not recommended. Not recommended. Visit New York. It's still a good city. Oh yeah, I've been to New York a few times. Yeah, I rented Jaguars with my wife. Yeah, and we went. I think we went down Manhattan, and it was just fantastic. I loved it. Shoes and sweat, you got it. And it's just yeah. And then when you shower, it's just the whole. So when 200 people need a shower, bunkers have like 8 or 9 showers, and so you have like a minute to shower, and the it doesn't really pull out the air, and so the whole bunker smells like gets this like funky smell from showers. Have visited the Switzerland Golden Vaults? I've not. No, I've only did the Swiss military stuff, so I've seen quite a few of those. No, no gold vaults. I worked for the police department when I did HVAC installments, but I've never seen golden vaults. No, nope, nope, nope. I've seen how they make money, but how they print money. Do you miss Swiss food? Nah, Swiss food is all cheese and potatoes and meat. So like no, I feel like there's way better culinary experiences that you can have. You can have like vegetables and other stuff. As I'm getting older, you can you can do like way better culinary experiences in Switzerland. You can shower in 1 minute. Yes, you can. You can shower in actually 45 seconds. What's your favorite? Um, what's your favorite authentic food? I would. What's my favorite authentic food? Probably pizza. I freaking love pizza. I bet Mexican food in Vegas is good. Oh yeah, there's some real good Mexican food here. They do. Food here is on another level. Like I used to live in Santa Cruz and everything was just like bad and overpriced. And here it's actually like you've gotta have good quality food for a good price or people won't come. So yeah, so it's not. So I like it. I like it. They got some real cool like ambiance type deals where you can eat real good Mexican food, real great Italian food, and yeah, it's all about how you kind of have the ambiance, how you present it, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm. I can't do the buffets anymore. I used to go to the buff. When I lived in Florida, I used to go to in Orlando. I remember I used to go to this buffet. They had student. They had the student meal, and it was a drink and all you can eat for $6.99. And every lunch I went, and it filled me up for the full day. So I used to fast because I was on a budget. I used to fast and drink coffee in the morning, so it would hold me till like 11 o'clock when they opened, and then I had all you can eat hibachi, and I ate a bunch of eggs, chicken, and everything on the hibachi grill for $6.99. Do you watch American sports? Yeah, I watch football. I have not watched soccer. The portion sizes are huge compared to Europe. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. The portion sizes are way, way bigger here. And yeah, it's also here that they Americans feel like they need to get value. I feel like Americans need to the bigger the portion, the bigger the value. And the bigger the portion, the more you feel like you got a good deal. It's not necessarily the quality of food, it's like the portion size. So if they'll load up the plate and you're like so stacked that you can eat on it for a week, it's like it's a great value. Yeah. Are there really Elena's skinny people in Europe? Not a. It really depends now. I feel like now with Ozempic, anybody can be skinny. Back when I grew up, it was kind of like a mix. But I remember like Pizza Hut, Domino's was more expensive, so American food was like more of a luxury item. So yeah, there's a there's a town in the Dominican Republic called and they call it the Switzerland of the Caribbean. High elevation, mountain water falls. It gets cold up there too, so super beautiful. I bet. I bet mountain towns have something that is really really unique about it. Went to Iceland 10 years ago. Amazing island. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many. I feel like Americans need to just travel and experience the world, and then they see like what American truly, truly has to offer, and you can like capitalize on all of that stuff. So if you go and you can then say, "Hey, this is it. This is America," and you can then like appreciate it for what it is. But if you never left the U.S., you'll never really truly like appreciate what America has to offer. Even though with all its bad and its goods, you'll never like appreciate it. But then you can also point out the flaws of what America has to offer. Do you have family in Argentina? A lot of German live there. No, no, I don't. I do not have any family in Argentina. No. Iceland's on my bucket list. Yeah, Iceland is a great place. Um, expensive though. Like the whole year. I think everything's now expensive though. Even when I went to Thailand, it got expensive. Like last time I was in Thailand. Do I miss California? I do. I do. I feel like if California would got their act together, everybody would be living in California. Even Floridians, that they just wouldn't admit it. They just don't admit it. If everybody, yeah, yeah, if California would have to write laws and it was governed right, everybody would be living in California. I mean, it has everything. Mountains. It's yeah. It is. it is something said about it that's just that pulls you. That's why people moved out there. You know, like LA County, a massive amount of people. Santa Cruz, Bay Area, San Francisco, all these places. It's just yeah. I like it. I liked it. Yeah. Have you been to South Europe? What do you mean? If I've been to Serbia, like south of like you mean like the eastern part or south like Italy? Yeah, I've been to Italy. I've been to Serbia. Serbia's really nice. Do you know? No, I don't know. I'm gonna Samsung Watch. I like tech gadgets. I'm more of a techie person. Italy, I've been to Italy. I'm not the south of Italy, just the northern part. I've been to Milan a few times. Yeah. I took out a home equity investment. Oh no, on my house with Point Digital Finance. Shavara, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? We gotta get one of these books. One of the days, you gotta send me one of those, and I'll talk and I'll tell all my viewers. It's one of my day ones. Buy one of his books, or we gotta auction, or we gotta give one away. And say this is Javara. He's one of my good friends. Santa Cruz is beautiful. Yes, Santa Cruz has amazing beauty to it. Ocean's cold though. So yeah, Spain. Spain, never been to Spain. No, I have not been to Portugal or Spain. I've been to France. What country are the pretty women? Depends. France has very pretty women. Like Sweden has very pretty women. England has very pretty women. Germany has some very pretty women. Yeah, hit the like button. Thank you, thank you. No payment, 30 years. Oh my god. Jawara, what are you doing, buddy? Yeah, send me a link. Next time you gotta send me a link to your book so we can promote your book on my channel. I'll help you support your book. You've been one of my day ones. Um no, so yeah, no payment for 30 years. I don't know how you did that, but yeah, send me the link of your book and I'll promote it next time I say. This is my buddy, Jawara. Did you live in Florida? I did. I lived in Orlando and I lived in Southwest Florida, Cape Coral. I lived off of Del Prado. It's where my parents used to have a house. I loved it. And then ended up making a move from the Northeast. What did you like and dislike about it? I'm looking into state taxes and also the weather. Um, I would rent the first 5 years. What I know about Florida people, the first 5 years you're gonna either love it and then you can buy or you're gonna hate it. So Florida, I lived in Orlando. I just visited Miami and I've seen the Southwest. So I've been in Naples, Cape Coral, and I've been there years. Like my family used to own. I think they bought in the 1990s or 1980s, and so it's an acquired taste because it's getting more expensive. Not everything you need to drive. It's major traffic. So high taxes with property taxes with insurance. So yeah, I think like Ukrainian women. Yeah, I bet. Do most European think English are snobby English people? Um, like the yeah, it's more of the Great Britain people than Irish or anything else. Yeah, I have a new book coming out next year. Yeah, you better send it to me so I can I'll say for all these people that have been following my channel, you should 100% buy one. I'll buy one of your books, sure. Have a new book. In house expensive. Yeah, houses are super expensive in Switzerland. It's like crazy. You'll probably never take equity out of your properties. Me, no. Home equity lines of credits are like, I feel like those are the pitfall of most Americans. Because if if you don't, I'll share this in another video of mine that I watched this lawyer, this bankruptcy lawyer, and she's like, don't ever do it. I would take out of, I wouldn't take necessarily money out of my of my primary residence, but out of my other properties, I would, depending on the deal. But if 30 years, don't worry, we'll pay it back with the book deal you got. Mary, I appreciate you commenting on all my videos. I love it. How are you doing? Good advice on Florida. I used to live in Cape Coral. Yep, South Cape Coral. Yep, he has gotten much more crowded in the past few years. My whole thing has been I've been into Cape. I lived off of Del Prado. I lived off of 17th Place. So there was like a Chris Lutheran church, depending on when you've lived there, and there was like a Jiffy Lube right across. So I lived right behind that on the canal. My parents had a house, gorgeous, but now it's just absolutely crazy. Prices are everything. The canals is a disaster because they don't circulate the water. So when you don't circulate the water, people fertilize their lawns. It goes into the canals. It kills everything. Would you visit Moscow and St. Petersburg? Me, 100%. We have more in common with Russians, Americans than you realize. I would not worry a single bit. Just don't take any prescription medication that isn't your doctor didn't prescribe to you. Just notice you're on. All right, thank you, thank you, thank you. You comment on all my videos. You were also one of my day ones. Did you just let us know? I can't. I I wish though. No, doctor told me no. So I did blood tests, and that's why I walk every day. So I am not doing none of that kind of stuff. I'm not. No. I'll drink a beer once in a while. I really like sour beers, and so when other people do like the devil's lettuce, I'm like, okay, smells good. I like it, but I just my lungs. Ever since COVID, my lung capacity is just like at 80%, and so yeah, tested it too. No bueno, can't do it. How would you compare Florida to Nevada? And did you realistically? And why did you realistically move from Florida? So I did not move from Florida to Nevada. So when I lived in Orlando, I met my wife. She lived in California, so I moved from Orlando. So a little bit backstory: I lived in Cape Coral, so my family had a house in Cape Coral for decades. Went there on vacation every year, 5 6 weeks. Loved it. Used to be like that you can get inexpensive pool service, and it was kind of a great place. Now it's infested with crime. Cape Coral, there's issues with septic tanks, and everything kind of came to haunt them. So I moved to friends and family in Orlando, went to UCF, met my wife, moved to California. Then I wanted to move back to Florida actually, and I looked back into Cape Coral, and then I'm glad I moved to Las Vegas because of property taxes, storms, and Fort Myers and everything. So I like it. No state income taxes. I'm sitting outside, no bugs, super low property taxes. I'm super close to California, what I kind of like, and the airport here is amazing. I don't gamble, so it's pretty good. Tell your wife said hi. I will do that. What do you use to do your walking videos? Like microphone or camera wise? Yeah. So Cape Coral is Florida. It's a very very acquired taste. So you gotta, in order to have like the the nice Florida life, you need to have like a lot of money. I feel like before 2012, you can really nicely retire down in South Florida or the Southwest Florida and be like having a boat, doing all this other stuff. Now you need a lot more money. Now you're like need to bankroll it because it's just so expensive. How do you feel with German people after World War II? Nothing. I don't feel neither way. I feel like people, if people do stuff because their government tells them to do, regardless of political affiliation. And if your country's in, um, actually, my grandpa, who was 99, he just passed this year, January, like this year. He actually grew up during those times. So he was born in 1926, and so even he said, when people suffer, they'll just take a way out. What they did was not right, and they lost. But I feel like everybody in history, looking at when you look through history, it's just been plagued of people do very strange and hurtful stuff to other people. It's almost like we're wired. It's almost like we've been doing this years with U.S. slavery, with wars, World War One, World War Two. You can look at Chinese. You can look at Hannibal. You can look at the Roman. You can look at the Persian Empire. We all just enslaved. You can look at the Egyptians. We all just going, yeah, we fight. We do this, and it's just who we are. Camera DJI Osmo 3. Are you seeing see the Hollywood crowd moving there? I no, I have not, but I can see that because it's low property taxes, and so they're like, ooh, it's nice. It's nice. So they'll come eventually. I saw a video of one producer Michael. They were talking about. Oh my gosh, I love it. Are you over 6 foot? Yes, I'm 6 foot 1 or 2. Jawara said 99. Yeah, that whole thing with people doing really hurtful stuff to other people is it's just so sad. Like we still do. Like we all, I think everybody in my viewership can agree that like hurting people is bad, but then we justify it somehow and say, oh, they started it, or it's because of religion, or it's because of that. And the funny part is when you go into the military, and this is my biggest problem, is that they tell you all about the benefits, but they don't tell you what you're going to be doing. So they don't tell you about, oh, you're going to be actually hurting or killing other people. So, yeah. And they're filming a lot in Vegas now? I don't think so. I haven't seen a lot. But I'm also not there where I could see it. And I don't know if they rent out like casinos where they film. So no. But yeah. Yeah, I just wish for like peace, that people appreciate each other, just kind of like learn from experiences and do stuff. Yeah. Northern Europe are the tallest people. Yeah. Yep. Northern European are tall people. Yeah. Yeah, there's good fertilizer in Northern Europe. That's why we're so tall. Eat a bunch of vegetables. That's kind of it. Yeah. But yeah, that's just a really sad topic. So what else you guys got going on? What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? What are you guys up to? I'm just hanging out. Got my little puppies. Look at that. Got two of them. My car. No, paid for my car and canoe. Nice. So you basically made all the payments at once. The photo market crashed soon. It's already crashing. You can have you depends where. But popular areas you can make some real good deals. Yeah, you can make some killer deals right now. If you really want to buy in Florida, you can make some killer deals. Look at Lee County. Lee County has 24,000 homes for sale or something crazy. West Palm Beach has so many homes for sale. So you can get some real good deals. Offer them 20 below asking price. I've seen when I was last in Cape Coral, the house across the street that I used to live in was listed for like 1.2. Now it's down to like 700. So yeah, you can make some killer deals if that's what you want to do. My wife is German Irish. Yeah, I bet. Going to bed, love seeing you in life. Thanks, Mary. I really appreciate it. You take good care and keep me posted on your life journey. Southwest Florida, how much more the downside? The downside, I think. The downside. So square footage wise, I have no idea. So when I buy real estate, I always try to find a desperate seller or somebody that needs to sell. So when I buy real estate, I always try to find somebody that is willing to sell and can kind of move quicker and say, I'm willing to take less, just get the deal done. How much more that is, it really depends what you're looking for. If you're just looking for a good deal, I think Right now, Southwest Florida houses go for, depending on if you want it on the canal, it's like six, 700. I think, not remodeled, 500,000. Um, I think you can negotiate. I think if you get a real good agent. So normally I'm like, oh, you can do a lot of things yourself, but if you have a real good agent and you come with money, people will take your deal. Um, yeah. How much more to go? So if they list their house, what price range are you looking at? What's the price range you're looking at? So I tell you how I do it. So when I look on Zillow, I always look at somebody that has been that might have taken their house on or off, and then I always have my real estate agent reach out and see, hey, how willing is that person to kind of buy or sell and see. But you need a good agent so they can kind of feel how fast they want to sell, if they even want to sell, or if it's somebody that's just like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. If I get a good offer, then I'll take it. But if somebody needs to go, and I know that there's a lot of people in New York that moved down to South Florida or Florida in general that said, you know what, I'm gonna buy a vacation home, but now they're Airbnb their home, and they notice that, oh my gosh, everybody else also Airbnb their home. There's no money in it. All from 300,000, all from 350, and you can always go up, but you can't go down. So when you write them an offer for 350 or 300, you can't go back and say 290. So I would tour houses and I wouldn't get attached to any of them, and I would say let's reach out. But you got to find an agent that is willing to kind of do the work, because after like submitting 3 or 4 offers, your agent kind of gets tired. But you're paying him, so he's a commission based, so you do whatever. And yeah, my agent got kind of tired of what I did, but hey, then I got some real good deals. I bet then you go to the U.S., a lot of American girls were interested. No, nope. Allie's my first American girl that I've dated. Nope. Zillow is overinflated houses. All right, condos are doing bad in Florida. Yeah, yeah. But see, so when I look at people, so on Zillow, you do your research. So use Homes.com and you can see how much of a mortgage they got. So use Homes.com and see what kind of mortgage they got. Because if they got a huge hefty mortgage for 500,000 and they're trying to sell for 500,000, they most likely cannot take less than what they're offering, because then they have to cover the difference. So go into Homes.com and see what their actual mortgage is. And if you can do that, and then that gives you huge leverage, because if somebody from New York just wants to get out, they got a 290 mortgage, and you offer them 350, 400, or 375, and you say, hey, I need some room, that's my budget, and maybe they'll take it. If your agent's really good and you can do all that, don't buy a condo. Condos are horrible. You can never get rid of your condo. I grew up in Zurich, actually, in Zurich, Switzerland. Kind of big town for Switzerland. It's growing like crazy. No, I did not watch tennis. I watched soccer growing up. I watched soccer FC Zurich, and yeah, and that was kind of it. And that's when I grew up with my uncle. He used to watch soccer, did all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, but yeah, doing the house shopping. If you're looking at something, because you need to, if you're really trying to buy, and you wanna, so there's 2 ways of looking at it. I gotta explain this because people might rip me in the comments after they watch this video. This is how you really have to do it. You buy a house because of amusement. You buy a house because you like where it's at, and you go and say, hey, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to live in it. I'm going to not buy it for the ROI or the appreciation. I'm going to buy because I'm going to get maximum enjoyed out of it. And that's worth money too. Or second, you're going to buy a house because you want it to appreciate. You want to buy it because of the ROI, and you do it. 2 different approaches, and you kind of pick on a scale of which one you would kind of want to do, right? So, yeah. yeah. So that's just kind of how I look at it. Because when you look at buying houses, they're not liquid. You can't just get rid of them. Martin Hingis was one of my favorite female players. Yeah. Martina Hingis. Yeah. 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 Tennis. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to money, there's like a bunch of different ways how to look at it. Um, and I always say everything has a price. You just kind of gotta figure out where and what you want to spend your hard-earned money on, and if it's worth doing. I love Florida, man, but the property tax, homeowners insurance, car insurance, also high. I can afford the house, but not sure if I can. From you and so many. That's why I did not move back to Florida. So because me and Ali, before I bought my house in Vegas, um this was a place where we were actually looking at. I was looking at back at Southwest Florida. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have a remote job, you have all this, and then we can go out on a boat again and do all this. And then I found, like later on, like a year later, we found out that it wasn't so remote. And I was like, ooh, glad to not be stuck in Southwest Florida. So are you retired? Are you looking at working down there? Because if you're gonna have to be working down there, you're gonna be in for something else. The laws, labor laws, the wages, it's gonna be brutal. So let me know a little bit. Are you gonna look at retiring down there? Do you have a nice nest egg? Do you think Pokemon goods are a good investment if you can buy them at the bottom, and if you could buy it at if you really know what you can do? Do you go to shooting ranges? Yes. Like I went skeet shooting a few times in Vegas. That's Clark County one, and I like it. It's expensive though. So yeah, it's very expensive stuff. It's just gets to it. Look into a tie down there. Ooh. I would look at renting. I would really, really look at renting because then you can have a fix. Then you have then you can plan it out. So when you look at on Zillow, depending on where you're gonna be going to, and my friend just did this, and I was super mad at him for it. So when I bought my house for like 900,000 a few years ago. Then now it's worth about probably 1.1 if I sold it 1.2, and my mortgage is like 3,300 or something with property taxes. So he just rented a nicer house than I have for that's like 1.3 million or something for $4,500. He never has to pay for anything. My garage door spring broke, $1,200. My solar for the pool broke, $800. So all of a sudden it just tacks on, and my fridge light broke of a Frigidaire GE or whatever it's called, $800. So if you don't have those costs, all of a sudden you can say, you know what, I'll pay it in rent and be good to go. Yeah, Switzerland to cops carry guns. Yes, they do. So where would I retire? Um, it depends where my family's at, to be honest. Where I would retire, it really, really depends. I would try to find a spot where I definitely would 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 find something that has that gives a bunch of discounts to retirees. Yeah. How much is your annual property taxes? So for a nine, so in Vegas, your property taxes are funny. So I pay like $300-400 a year because it's like nothing. Like property taxes in Vegas is like absolutely nothing. Yeah, so that's another reason why I bought down here. I pay like I think for a $900,000 house that I bought, it was like $4,500. It's like nothing. But car registration is more expensive. But then you just don't need to drive that nice of a car. I bought my house for 250K. Now it's for 710 years. Nice, yeah. But see, those are things that are not tangible. You can't really like and do much. And even though like like mine went up from 900 to 1.2, 1.3 or whatever it is, It's just on paper because if you're gonna sell it, right now with 7% interest rates, even though Zillow or your neighbor sold that house, it's just numbers. It's not, like it's not. Yeah, paying 9K here, and then people that pay 12K. Yeah, I know. It's in California. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely nuts. And I think Marco Polo, you live in California, right? So yeah, if you paid that much, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Because it's wasting money when you think about it. Property taxes, what do you get? You pay rent to the government for your whole life. It's just not. It's not. I don't think that's correct. So when states are saying this house is expensive, depends if you can get. Oh, New York. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, but they have higher property taxes, right? I think like 2% or something. Uh, Depends if are you New York City or upstate. Is housing expensive? No, housing can be cheap. Can be cheap. You just gotta buy in. You buy like into a nonprofit, and then they'll give you like nonprofit housing where they can't jack up the rates that much. If you rent privately, it can be very expensive. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Property taxes are. I feel like a scam. I feel like we, as Americans, you just get taxed to no end. They'll just tax you wherever. It's fees and taxes. We're like the land of fees and taxes. You rent a night at a hotel in Vegas, and the night's like $49, and you pay hundreds of dollars in fees, resort fees, taxes, parking, air conditioning fees. They're gonna probably do something like that. It's just crazy. Yeah, it's all these nickel and diming fees. I feel like Airbnb too. They all have these nickel and diming concierge fees and resort fees and property tax fees, and everything's a extra fee that they try to tax onto you. In South African Caribbean, you pay off the house, pay the taxes when you buy it, and then it's all yours. Yeah, yeah, because they know that you can't tax people to all ends. But as Americans, we're involved in everybody's business, so we extort power to the most remote places in the world. And when we have drones flying over the Antarctic, somebody's got to pay for that. Not in the US, but my bro bought his house in Reno for nearly 2,000 developers. We're hunting them down to sell for the past year. Yeah. If you buy early on, you're always golden. So if you buy something, and I saw, who was that? I saw, who was that social media influencer? That was, Alex Ramosi. So Alex Ramosi said his buddy that's like almost a billionaire now, so he draws with a ruler. His video's somewhere. He says, I buy land like 20 miles outside and I hold it for 30 years or 20 years, and then I sell it and make millions. He didn't feel that was right. It was right. Too much money. You know, that's not much money. Like if I talk to some people, I've met somebody that had like $500 million under management. When you talk to him about 125,000, it's not a lot of money. So own a house or rent. My parents, they neither rent or own a house. They own an apartment. My parents, my mom and my dad got divorced, and so they both now have their own apartments that they've purchased. So yeah, no, um, having saying something like it's too much money is a limiting belief. And I truly try to tell my viewers that, hey, 675K for the past year, you should have said, give me 1.2. For a developer, that's nothing. That's nothing. They say, okay, can't do 1.2, can do 900. Done. Money's just a number. There shouldn't be an emotion attached to it. That's what I try to say in my videos lately. That's like, hey, most Europeans live in apartments. Yeah, yeah. Because there's not that much land. Like the US, there's so much land, there's so many roads. In Europe, not so much. Not so much. Yeah. Life in Europe is completely different. Buses and trains is how you get around. If you have a car, you sit in traffic. And the funny part is, though, if you have insurance in Europe, I can't talk for whole Europe, but Switzerland, they don't ask you, hey, so what's your limit? Do you want to have 100,000, 200, or 300,000? You just buy insurance, and then insurance will pay out whatever insurance needs to pay out. And here it's another scam where they say, do you want 50, 20,000, 100, 300, 300, half a million? Do you need umbrella policy? No, either you have insurance or you don't. Yeah, I feel like the US is in a very shaky now. We've we've as Americans have been spending like drunken sailors. We've been when you look at Doge, and I don't want to like say if this is true or not, but if you look at just the Doge department, and even if half of it is true, it's a shame on us. Even if only 20% what they're talking about on what they're cutting is true, it's just a shame that we're spending so much money on unnecessary stuff. Yeah. Is losing purchasing power. Yeah. Yeah, of course. We're spending like we're drunken sailors. Do you think they will ever build a high speed? Well, I hope so. I really hope so. Because look at how many rails, how many does China have? How many like high speed bullet trains does China have? And here it's all about drive your car, and when you go from Las Vegas to LA, you sit in traffic the whole time. So why not have a high speed bullet train and just sell the tickets? Just say, hey, we're gonna do it. So it's coming, they said. But yeah, we need a lot more. I feel like it would give competition to airlines, and more competition is always better rather than less. And if you can hop on a train and go from upstate New York to New York City, and it costs you almost like no money because it's utilized and all that kind of stuff, why not? You just got to enforce that these people pay rather than just jump the rails, because people love to not pay, right? You see it in the metro. When I visit New York, they all jump the little turning thing. They all say, I don't need to pay. Why do I need to pay? And then they jump even if cops are there. Have you ever flown from LA to Vegas? I have. I have. Yeah, I've flown from LA to Las Vegas, like 45 minutes. Um, yeah, it's cheap. It's cheaper than renting a car. No, we will not build the bullet train. No one fronts the money. Yeah, yeah, it could be that there's no money. But the federal government approved for California, but they mismanaged it and they stole it all. So there was money. There was like billions of dollars, but I think the only thing that they did is they've what did they do? Yeah, they built a bridge, I think. Look it up. They built a bridge. No ridership. Yeah, that's another thing. So you gotta have parking for people to take the train. I feel like when I was last in New York and I took the train up to Connecticut, they always had these nice little places where you can take the train, it takes you up there, then you can park so you can have all the stuff. What do you think of layoffs happening left and right and the whole tariff situation? Do you think the Fed will cut interest rates in a few weeks? Tariffs? I don't think the tariffs are that great of an idea. I think you should incentivize companies to do it, but then it's mismanaged. So I feel like tariffs, there needs to be something in between tariffs and incentives so people can get hired. I think they have to come up with a solution of so they can get hired. Um, that they incentivize hiring Americans rather than doing tariffs. Do you think the Feds will cut interest rates? No, because they're in the catch 22. They can't lower it because then if the economy gets way worse, they can't go below zero. Do you ever ride Amtrak or been on a Greyhound bus? I did Amtrak and it was pretty decent. I've never been on a Greyhound bus. The auto industry, airlines, oil companies will oppose it. Yeah, that's a whole nother thing that should be illegal. They should not sell out the American people. Would your parents ever move to the U.S.? No, they would never move to the U.S. My parents would never move to the U.S. My dad is remarried again, and he would not move to the United States ever. again, because then it would require his wife, and I don't think as a sponsor like myself, I could petition for him, and I wouldn't either. So that's off the table. My mom, yeah, she could, but I don't think she's interested in doing that. Just not worth doing, right? So got a few more questions, and then is Ali from Florida? No, Ali is from Santa Cruz, California. That's why I ended up in Santa Cruz, California. And we just got out because I did a transitional housing unit behind our house, and where we owned a townhouse, and I've had this gorgeous view the of like a natural water park, like not from the water district. So the water district owned like this kind of wetland type of deal, and they the Santa Cruz County, the water district, and the state gave the land to put in like a 3-story building. And I know that people need to live somewhere, but it was the most amazing green belt ever. So yeah, so I was glad I got out. Visit her family a lot. Short drive. The drive's 9 hours, so I don't know if you consider that short. I was petrified driving in LA 4 hours in traffic going through LA. The rest of the social was great. Good night. Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off here pretty soon too. I was petrified driving in LA 4 hours traffic getting out of LA. Yep. Rest of Cal was great. Yeah, I mean, when you think about just how much business goes on in California, this is amazing. How many people do business there, and so it's just, and it has like you can drive from LA like 2 hours. You can be up in the beach or you can be up in the mountains if there's no traffic, right? If there's traffic, it's gonna take longer. But yeah, cool stuff. So I'll do a live here coming up again pretty soon. I love chatting with you guys. This was kind of super spontaneous, but I love chatting with you guys. So hopefully I can jump on a little bit more. And yeah, good night wherever you're from. These were amazing questions. I appreciate you guys, and have a good night. And I'll see you in my video. Well, hold on. What video should I do tomorrow morning? Give me some topics. Give me a leader who grew up in Switzerland. Yeah, he did. Great. Give me some ideas for videos I could do tomorrow, so I can do some research. Give me a good topic, and then you guys can tune in tomorrow's video. I'll let you guys decide the topic. So what kind of topic should I do? Give me a topic, and then we'll make a video. Yeah, Kim Jong-un learned from Switzerland on how to basically rule his hermit kingdom. Yeah, just give me one topic so I can make a video. What do you guys want to see tomorrow? Let me know. Talk about growing up in Europe. I don't know if that's going to get a bunch of views, but I'll add it at the end. I'll add a little segment at the end. What do you want to talk? What should I talk about growing up in Europe? What should I talk about growing up in Europe? It needs to relate to somehow the economy, or it's going to get no views. It's going to get no views, so I have to have something that relates into it. So I need almost like tariffs or something. It's American Dream dead. Is living abroad the new American dream? Okay, I will actually make that video and I will talk about it. Social policies in Europe versus US. Seems like you guys are interested in that. So that's what I'm going to be making. I'm going to use exactly that topic. And I'm going to use exactly that thumbnail. And I'll talk about it. I'll talk about my experiences. Let me screenshot it so I can use that. And pros and cons. Okay, so I will actually use this. So I screenshotted it. So you guys will see this video come tomorrow. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to bed now. So watch tomorrow. Probably have it filmed about 10 o'clock, 10 to 11 PSD time. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. I'll make this. And yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in for tonight, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.